Hello there, everyone. Um, I'm here today uh, from a person with lived experience to show that there can be positives as well as the negatives. Can I have a next slide, please? Thank you. So, I'm Paul James and I'm 40 years old, from England. I have Lowe syndrome, a visual impairment, and a mild learning disability. I also have the bones of a 70-year-old and calcium lumps due to Lowe syndrome. Now, just to say before I move on that I was told that I have the bones of a 70-year-old when I was 32 years old when I unfortunately broke my humerus bone. Um, I, I won't lie to you today, it has been hard, it still is hard, but I don't let this stop me. And next slide, please, thank you. NHS England. I work as a learning disability and autism advisor for the primary care team, which is part of the National Learning Disability and Autism Programme. Some of my responsibilities are talking to GP practices on how to make reasonable adjustments for people with a learning disability, autism, or both. Make easy read, accessible information about flu vaccines, annual health checks, about how to check for cancer, and easy information about screenings. I also give advice to other teams and also groups outside of the NHS on how to make services better for people. My confidence has really grown and I really do enjoy all the aspects of the job. I work with some great colleagues and I feel equal to everyone else. Next slide, please. Thank you. My website, Living with Lowe's. I realised that there were a lot of negativity around Lowe syndrome, so I decided to create my website to help show that there can be positives as well as the negatives. I was wanting this to be an interesting read for everyone, including healthcare professionals, students, parents, carers, and also the general public. I knew I had to put my sense of humour into this. My website includes what it's like living with Lowe syndrome, my achievements, including my paid job, voluntary opportunities, making awareness, and much more. I have received many emails from people, including parents, saying that I give them hope for the future. Next slide, please. Sign for inclusion and why. There are a lot of people with a learning disability who don't get treated the same and not given the same opportunities as everyone else. These can include getting a paid job, a social life. I was wanting to help people's way of thinking and to show just because you have a disability, it shouldn't stop you from having the same opportunities in life as everyone else. I have asked professionals, healthcare, health and social care students, and businesses to send me a short piece on why they feel inclusion is important for people with a learning disability and those who are autistic. Some of these people include McDonald's, British Association for Supported Employment, and University of Cumbria Learning Disability nursing students. Next slide. Thank you. Creating friendships during lockdown. Because of having problems with my kidneys, I was advised by the hospital to not leave the house and to shield for 1 year. At first, I found this hard, but one night I was looking for online quizzes. I came across this quiz called Quiz Live. I didn't know anyone there. The quiz host I didn't know, or any of the people taking part in the quiz. I did find this quite nervous at first, but after a few quizzes, I started to get to know people. Af, uh, One night I took a packet of Skittles to eat whilst during the quiz. A couple who I got to know, who are now my friends, suggested my team name should be PG on the Skittles. And next slide. Thank you. So PG on the Skittles. Since I have since I have loved the sorry. Since then I have loved the different quizzes, including general knowledge, themed quiz, bingo nights, and charity nights. Charity nights, I took this a bit further. I dressed up in my dressing gown all night throughout the quiz, and I also included Skittles the Clown for Macmillan Cancer Support. These quizzes are very inclusive, and I feel that I've made friends for life. Next slide. Thank you. Some of my achievements. I am a leader in Dimensions Learning Disability and Autism Leader List of 2022. The Leaders List is a national list which is held every year. It gives people with a learning disability, autism, or both a chance for people to learn about the hard work they are doing in their community. I was in the work and education category for the work I did around primary care and annual health checks. I spoke to Lynn Romeo, Chief Social Worker, for adults on what makes a good social worker. Next slide. Thank you. I have experience of being on a board of directors, and I'm still a director of my local group. I have done many PowerPoint presentations and talks to many people, including junior psychiatrists and psychologists. I have also presented to health and social care students. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now, these slides here, what I'm going to talk about are just some of the suggested changes. So the first one is the term LS and the term LD. And acronyms aren't good to use. Also, this can be offensive and people don't like these. So the suggested terms to use for these two are Lowe syndrome and learning disability. The term devastating. People hearing this word, especially parents, it can be very frightening. So the word or terms preferred. People with Lowe syndrome may struggle more than others, meaning they may need extra help with certain day-to-day tasks, including personal care. The term disease. So I personally, this is not a disease. I see this as a syndrome. So yeah, the term as preferred is rare conditional syndrome. And next slide, please. Thank you. The term shorter life expectancy. This can be very hard for a person to hear and for the parent to hear as well. People with Lowe syndrome have died as babies, teenage life, and in their 50s. So the preferred term of people with a learning disability are known to die much younger than those without a learning disability. The phrase delayed development intellectual ability ranges from normal to severely impaired. It's not known what difficulty the person may have learning when they are babies. Again, seeing the wording can worry parents. The word normal, what is normal behaviour? So the preferred terms and words for this one is most people with Lowe syndrome have a learning disability, meaning they can need extra help than others, including understanding money, financial, having things explained in simpler language, easy read or plain English, And there's no to say that a person with a learning disability or Lowe syndrome can't have a fulfilled life with that extra support around them. So the wording temper tantrums and challenging behaviour. So any parent reading and association their son or daughter has or will have a temper tantrum, it could come over offensive and making them sound childish. It's actually upsetting personally for me to know that I could be classed as having a temper tantrum or challenging behaviour. So for challenging behaviour and for the temper tantrum, I would suggest that the term should be behaviour that challenges. And next slide, thank you. So just some final thoughts. Medical research is very important. However, it's extremely important at the same time to have lived experience involved in pieces of work, including families and people with Lowe syndrome themselves. People can learn a lot from people with lived experience by working together from the start of the project to the end, and I call this co-production. There should be a page about Lowe syndrome on the National Health Insurance website. More information available on the NHS's website. It needs to be supportive and positive and to be co-produced with someone with Lowe syndrome. And next slide, thank you. Just because someone has a learning disability, it shouldn't mean you have less chances or opportunities in life as those without a learning disability or Lowe syndrome. Everyone should be treated equally and fairly. When describing someone with Lowe syndrome, it's important to say that the person may or could have, instead of saying will have. Everyone is not the same. My mum and dad was told I wouldn't be able to walk, talk and have much future, and look at me now. And next slide please. And thank you very much for having me this evening. Thank you.